Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Full Moon in Scorpio live stream. I am your host, Natalie, spelled Natalee. How is everyone today? Very nice, very nice. Hello, everybody. I kind of just want to jump in if that's okay. If that's okay with you all, I like to just jump in. This is the last super full moon. We just came off in the last two learning cycles of the moon cycles. Those were two full super moons as well. And the Scorpios is the third. So I'm actually pretty exhausted. So excuse me if I'm super tired. This is when everyone's feeling, and what's really, you're gonna feel it like it's happening super. It's going to be very, very effectful. So especially with Mercury here, the moon is opposing Mercury with the sun and Uranus. So what you were I have here the new moon, the Taurus new moon that was April 22nd, and that has Uranus with it. So that new moon has this flavor of unpredictability. It's the one thing in astrology that we cannot figure out. We can't figure out how Uranus is going to behave. And that's what Uranus rules, is our behavior. So our behavior, other people's behavior, that's part of why it's so shocking or just different or unexpected, because it's someone else's behavior. So now we have Mercury there. So I feel like with what Scorpio wants to do is get at the truth of something, get at the truth of the situation and do some digging. And this full moon is sextiling Jupiter in Capricorn, sextiling Saturn, going backward. Everything is going retrograde. We're entering like it's huge retrograde season. The nodes are changing, and the nodes are karma. It's our karma going from Cancer, Capricorn into Sagittarius, Gemini. So all of us are going to have different karmas to be working through and working out. And I really feel that this eclipse coming up in the 0th degree of Cancer, we're like finishing out that family of eclipses in Cancer, Capricorn. So I feel like that this full moon, I feel like it's just part of that. It's part of this energy since January. In December, what was it? I think it was like Christmas Day or Christmas Eve of 2019, that eclipse. So these partial solar, lunar, partial lunar eclipses in Cancer, Capricorn are going to be basically phased out. And so, water break. So I feel like this full moon is kind of helping that along. So I feel like it really does fit into a bigger plan of scheme of things. So definitely some sort of communication involved. And with Mercury is going to be trining Pluto, trining Jupiter, soon. It's like on its way. It's applying an aspect to trining Pluto and Jupiter. So I feel like whatever does come out at this time, it's going to move something along that you were really focused on. So you want to look at Taurus in your chart, and you want to see what you are trying to get going, what you are trying to. Now, I did say it before, and I still maintain my position that even though that new moon featured Uranus squaring Saturn, I still maintain that Uranus has the upper hand here, at least at that new moon energy. So you were going to want to bring something along or do something that is stable, Taurian stability, but innovative. Or you might have had to change your own behavior in order to accomplish some goal of yours. So, whatever that focus was, that Taurus focus. And so at this emotional time, this full moon time, the energy is across the sky. And so you could be feeling tugged in two different directions, where there could be challenges to maybe even the established way that you do things, established behaviors, and coming up against kind of what your emotional maturation is guiding you towards, what you're really kind of with Scorpio, this great flush of energy. Scorpio rules the waste system. So it's like, you know, I still see it like just flushing out like a lot of toxic negative energies. So that's like the best way to use this is to use it as like a nice big flush of stuff. And I knew it was there. I knew that letting go of something was definitely going to be activated. And it's just still surprising how stuff works out. It's just interesting. We're not even done with this full moon energy yet, and I'm getting like, whoa, 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 whoa. And manifesting in different ways, like watching these planetary energies manifesting, and then going, oh, gotcha. We have Venus here in Gemini. I'm about to retrograde, and what she's doing at this, she was trining Mars at the new moon, and she was squaring. Now Neptune square Venus, that's going to be happening. They're going to contact like 2 more times, and that's just like the whole month of May, that Venus and Neptune are going to be speaking in total disharmony. And at this full moon, she's still trining Mars, squaring Neptune still. It's sort of, okay, yeah, it's not really worth too much mentioning. She's Neptune is the higher octave of Venus, okay? It takes that experience of love, of like, and it elevates it to this realm of spiritual, like spiritual love, you know, like a love that transcends even like your bodies. So for Venus and Neptune to be in harsh conversation, however that works out in your chart, it's going to work out. It's going to be activated on this month in May. But that's where the deception comes in. That's where that kind of scammy, manipulative energy kind of permeates and just seeps into it here, into this broader moon configuration. Because Venus is not directly talking to the moon. Neptune is not directly really talking to the moon. They're oh, hold on. Oh, okay. Sorry, the new moon. The new moon. Here at the full moon, the moon is trining that Neptune. Excuse me, I misspoke. The Scorpio full moon, 27 degrees, is trining that 20 degrees Neptune in Pisces. And that kind of activates that square a little bit more too. So something coming to light about, and I feel like this, I honestly felt like it was way more, I felt like it was more to do with your personal, and for some of you for sure, your personal drives and wishes, you know, trining Mars, the new moon, very excited to get something going, very happy, and what you want, what you like is aligning with the actions that you're taking and how you go get what you want for yourself. And now that they're like really meeting and talking to this Scorpio full moon, it's like, well, something's being brought to light. And for my personal experience, I was way in Two of Pentacle energy. I had so many things. I was doing so many things that I caught some other scammy things happening. And when I was catching those things, other thing was still happening that I wasn't totally focused on. I was Two of Pentacles a little bit. And, you know, for me personally, I'm a very inspired person and artist and whatnot. So I have a lot of ideas and I try to stay on top of all my ideas. And so it gets me scattered like that. So then I don't really, you know, anyway, that's one story. But at this full moon, okay, let's get back on track here. So communication is a big issue. Full moon Scorpio opposite Mercury, conjuncting the sun, and Uranus is there. So I feel like you're going to be surprising the people around you, and or people around you are going to be surprising you with what's coming forward, either about them or what they're directly telling you, what they're directly communicating with you. And let's see. Oh yeah, Moon square Mars. Oh, how did I forget the T square? the T-square. So the T-square is when there's an opposition and then both of those oppositions are squaring something. So this T-square has all this energy infused into it, right into Mars. And Mars is in the later degrees of Aquarius, 26 degrees Aquarius at this full moon. So not only do we have like Venus and Neptune really directly connecting to this full moon now, whereas the new moon, it was more like this is going on in another part of your life. And this is going, now it's all kind of being brought in together and it's all being funneled and channeled through Mars. So for some of you, for a lot of you actually, and the people around you, it's going to be anger. It's going to be frustration. It's going to be, and with Mars being in Aquarius, it could be a very, I'm going to put this me type of, like what I want, my wishes, my desires. And Mars at the new moon was squaring Uranus still. So it's like there's still this energy of Mars isn't squaring Uranus. So I feel like that over the new moon, there was a bit of impatience and, a lot of activity, a lot of night activity. That's what it feels like. And over here at the full moon, over the next 2 weeks, what you guys can expect to get you to, I would say, this new moon in Gemini, is to expect that to be more in your perspective and communication. Whereas the first half of this moon cycle, it was maybe more about like your actions, the actions that you're taking, or just something not developing quick enough for you, fast enough, and whatnot. And now over the next couple of weeks, it'll be more about talking to people and getting on the same page, aligning your missions or where you're both going, that kind of stuff, because you're going to discover some cross purposes. Definitely some cross purposes, and it'll have to do with information coming to light. It'll have to do with some information coming to light. And this is kind of right before everything's starting to go super retrograde, including Venus herself. So whatever this is, and you'll have to look at your chart to see where Taurus is, where Scorpio is, where Aquarius and Leo fall in your chart, the houses that they're in. We'll go over that in the Patreon tarot spread. I think that's what we'll do. We'll do that. And I'll kind of go through each sign, like what to expect over the next couple of weeks. But just keep that in mind, that other people could be channeling this super tense, gridlocked energy in very like unhealthy ways. Like everyone's channeling energy, and whatever you put your focus on, whatever has your attention, is what multiplies. That's what has you. So if your attention isn't on it, it's still happening. It doesn't mean that it's not happening just because you're not paying attention to it. You know what I'm saying? Okay, what else we got here? We've got, I'm looking at Mars squaring Mercury, the moon, and the sun. I mean, that's really like your ego, what you want, where you want to go in life, what you've been trying to get to or trying to push forward. Something's come up that is like emotionally kind of rattling. It might be rattling, but it's really for the ultimate best, guys, seriously. And here's what I want you to focus on. The full moon in Scorpio, people are going to be channeling the shadow side of that, being very paranoid, being very obsessive, thinking that like the world's out to get you. And then with that square to Mars, something's going to be really uncomfortable. Really uncomfortable. It's going to trigger some instincts, some very primal, like whatever people are being triggered, it's just like this human underlying thing. And what I'll say is that you want to focus on channeling the Eagle Scorpion. You want to focus on channeling Eagle Scorpio that flies above all of that and is a survivor and knows that I'm getting such Capricorn Scorpio energy with that too, because it's like no matter what, Scorpio is going to survive. No matter what, Capricorn is going to survive. No matter what, it's like one of those things. So that's what you want to focus on this full moon over the next couple of weeks. I even wrote down here, use your power or give it up. So honor your truth. Do you love your roost? Use your power or give it up. So it's how you've been using your power. It's how you've been honoring your truth. And it's how you've been making the adjustments to your roost and to your surroundings, or the things that you were trying to make, trying to do, and how the results of that are kind of shaking out, So I'll use myself as an example so you guys don't feel victimized or personally attacked. I knew I was saying goodbye to stuff at the Scorpio full moon so I already set that sort of attitude of letting go and surrendering. So, I lost a little bit more than just, a film that I was shooting. And so already being in that, okay, Uranus is going to bring me something that I'm going to have to deal with. And like the sooner that we let it go and forgive, the better off I'll be and the better off everything will be. It just set me up to go with everything a lot quicker, and honestly to just keep moving forward, because you just can't stew. And Scorpio can do that. Scorpio can stew in negative toxic feelings and revenge and issues of control. Like when Scorpio doesn't feel like they have control, like the lower evolved Scorpio or the shadow side of Scorpio within yourself is going to feel really insecure about not controlling a situation. So take a look and see if you're feeling insecure about not controlling a situation. I think I put it on my Instagram at the beginning of the week. Like, what are you going to let go of? Who's going to let go of something? Everybody will, because it's full moon Scorpio this week. So it's like, setting you. So if you guys are on Instagram, I'm Watch Natalie on Instagram, and I just post astrology, psychic stuff, psychic lifestyle, and tarot stuff on my little account, and it's a lot of fun. I do countdowns to things like energy shifts and whatnot, and I post updates and all that jazz. So there's that. But like I said, if you really just program yourself, it's really about self-control and self-knowledge, that if you set yourself up, you will be okay no matter what. You'll be okay if everything gets pulled out from under you. You'll be okay if, like, you really just kind of like with that full energy, that you just sort of trust in the universe, that you do the very best you can with what you have, which is what you were doing at this new moon. The new moon with the sun and Uranus and Taurus was, you were trying to do something, or there was some development happening in your life that was just bringing change into your life. So I feel like you were either initiating that change, or you were responding to some new development into something that was very stable. And so the better, like I'm saying, the better you roll with that, the sooner you'll absorb those lessons and integrate that lesson into wisdom, so that it just builds you up bigger and better and stronger. Worst case. Okay, so for some of you, it's a lot worse than my situation. Like I'll just look, to find somewhere else. It's not that, trust me, like I've been in so much worse situations, living my life like moment to moment, not wondering if I was actually going to be alive the next moment. If you've ever slept in your car and wondered if someone was going to find you and like try to take advantage of seeing you sleeping in the car, like it's just like terrifying. You know what I'm saying? So perspective is so key. And remember that there are never any victims here on Watch Natalie. We're not victim people. We're not victim mentality. So it's like, if something does happen with you, like you get like scammed really bad, or if it's like a romantic scam and someone makes you, you know what I'm saying, and gets you to like put money into a situation, put money into something, and that comes out for you at the full moon, like that's horrible. Like that's really, you know what I'm saying? So, and not to say that, oh, there's always someone that has it worse. No, it's just having a great perspective, a perspective that you can use for yourself. And that's part of the interesting thing about this lunation with Uranus being so heavily involved, is that it's bringing a change in behavior. And what's happening globally right now is, as everyone's like trying to like move forward and no one agrees, and it's like people are arguing about people's behavior. Let's do that. Let's take a quick look. Give me a second. For America. Shoot, I don't have her chart with me. Hold on. But I know that she's Sag rising. Okay. 1, 2. Ooh, okay. Wow, that's revealing. So I'm pretty sure that we're Sag rising, and this full moon in Scorpio, our 12th house, America's 12th house, and that T square is being activated. Where's all that energy going? What house is it? It is the money house. It's the money house for the US. So definitely resources and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The daily life is being affected. The behavioral daily life of Americans is undergoing so much stress that it's fighting against what everyone was really used to and used to behaving. So that Uranus conjunct the Sun and Mercury in Taurus is our 6th house, opposing this full moon in Scorpio in our 12th. Both of those lights T squaring Mars in the 1, 2, like 2nd, 3rd house ish. And so it's like such major, it's almost okay. This super full moon in Scorpio, put it very simply, is triggering the collective American unconscious fear mentality, scarcity mindset. And it's because it's in response to the need to change behavior. And so people are tweaking out and people are fighting about it. And so people are going to be talking about it. More information is going to be coming to light, more information and more evidence and all that jazz. I'm not going to spend too long on that. But that's just one thing to look at. So if you are Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising, you get that one right down the turnpike, that some part of your daily life is changing behaviorally, and it's really stressing out your subconscious in some way. It's triggering something that you've got to like let go of, and it could be really, really stressful for money. Be really careful with like borrowing, lending, that all of that stuff. Okay, let me just take a quick I was trying to say quick and brief, and I said quick. A quick overview. Let me see. Mercury. Okay, Mercury's trining Jupiter at this full moon too. Mercury square Mars, Mercury sextile Neptune, Mercury trine Pluto. And it's interesting that the only thing touching this north node is actually Mars. So it's your action taking principle, and action and behavior are two different things. I put that up on my Instagram before. Action is ruled by Mars, and that's the action you take. Behavior is ruled by Uranus. So your actions could not line up with your behavior and vice versa. Or you could be observing that in people around you, and that is part of what comes to light, where the classic example is the bully that's loud and yells and complains and stomps around and threatens everybody. That's the behavior. They behave like they're this threatening, violent, don't mess with me individual. But when you confront that bully and they don't fight you, then it's revealed that they're actually a coward. It's revealed that they're not going to take any action to back up all that threat. So their behaviors, Uranus, are not in alignment with their actions, Mars. So I feel like that's going to be the crux of learning about information. The information you learn about people is going to have a lot to do with, wow, this person is not who they said they were. They are not who they represented themselves to be. Their behavior is not lining up with their actions. And all of that's going to just get funneled into Mars, which that could be action that you're taking. That could be action someone else is taking that's affecting your life. It could be something you have to respond to. You're going to look to see where Aquarius is in your chart to figure that out. But Mercury squaring Mars, I feel like you're not going to be happy with it. I feel like you're going to be like frustrated and I feel like you're going to want to call someone out on something. So be very careful of that energy. Scorpio is going to want to just take someone to the cleaners and just say the truth in one big, long, truthy, holding someone to task, like holding someone to the truth over their actions, and let that go. Like if you're feeling that at all, like just let that go, because that's giving your power away. And at the new moon, I said, use your power or give it up. And the way to always take your power back is to adjust your perspective, adjust your attitude, and I hate to say it, but like to walk away, is to just leave the situation. Yeah, get really good at ignoring people, ignoring energies, and ignoring like things. Like just practice that, the ice queen type of energy, because it keeps you from being like, sucked into that toxic energy exchange, and we don't want that for you. Okay. So Mercury is going to be challenging Mars, or Mars is going to be challenging Mercury, but Mercury is trining Jupiter and trining Pluto. That's a lot. And then Pluto rules Scorpio. So use this energy to the best of your advantage and really talk through this in the most peaceful, gracious, loving ways you possibly can manage. You're not going to want to. You're going to want to just run roughshod over the situation and just, but just try. Just try your best. That's what counts, is that you authentically try. Okay. Because that Mars is trining the North Node. That North Node is now like a 29th degree Gemini, so it's flipped over. So this has to do with your karma. Everyone's karma's focus is changing from Cancer Capricorn to Gemini Sagittarius for like the next couple of years. I think it's like 20 months that we're going to have the nodes going through Gemini and Sagittarius. So if you have either of those signs, you're going to be, this is even more important for you. Just like if you are, a Cancer or Capricorn, you just finished out that karmic cycle, you're moving on to a new learning. It's like going to a different grade in class, learning different lessons. So if you're Sagittarius, Gemini, this will have to do with you learning about yourself personally. So get ready for that. Too late, it's here. Okay, sorry. So use Mercury, try to talk this through and so one of the ways to alchemize pain into providence is creativity, is channeling that energy creatively and creating something outside of yourself that was created channeling that energy. So that piece of artwork, you can throw it in the trash, you can sell it, you can give it away, but it's like externalized and it's not inside of you anymore. So that's kind of what I want you to focus on with Mercury and using your words, is using your words responsibly and carefully and using it to alchemize some of that pain. And like I said, use that high vibrational Scorpio energy and be really honest with yourself and with everyone you need to be honest with. And that's going to ruffle some feathers. But if you just clean your side of the street and you make sure that you have your attitude adjusted, that you have your perspective adjusted, on the right way, and you communicate, then you don't have to worry about that person's response. You don't have to worry about what the other side says or does, because their feelings and that's all their responsibility. You're responsible for what you're putting out. You're only responsible for yourself. You control your reactions, you control your responses, you control your thoughts, your feelings, your attitudes, and that's how you take your power back. So even if you were scammed like on a small level like me, or if you were scammed on a really big level like Bernie Madoff level, you can still take your power back. So you can still take your power back and get control of the situation through what you are channeling and through what you're deciding to put out there. And just like an astrology note, it's so interesting because I did look at my natal chart and the astrology and looking for the scam. I'm looking for it, right? And the way it showed up, and it's interesting because kind of how I say before that, for me as an astrologer, it's difficult for me to see when you earn the money and when you make the money, like when you receive the money and when you earn the money. Like it looks a little, with this, it just showed up so interesting. I'm not going to explain it, because it's like a clue for me when I'm reading for other people that it could show up this way. And so I learned that, and I would not have seen that or picked that up before. And it's because it wasn't that big of a scam. Like it wasn't that big of consequence to me. It didn't like put me out. It didn't, I didn't really suffer from it. You know what I'm saying? Like it was shown a light. Like I was like, whoa, there was that full moon Scorpio energy, but it's like worst case scenario is not that bad. You know what I'm saying? So So that's another interesting thing to note, astrologically. So when things happen, if for those of you that are really into it, to keep a psychic log, an astrological log of dates of when things are happening in your life, so that when you do learn more, you can go back to those dates, pull up your chart, pull up the sky at the moment, and you can see what was happening. You can see your own energy signature of what was going on when that was happening. So I just always recommend that for those of you that are like super into astrology. Okay. All right, my dears. I hope that this has been really, really helpful for you. I'm going to hop over on Patreon. We're going to do an energy healing tarot spread on this full moon in Scorpio energy. So when I say energy healing tarot spread, I mean that tarot spread and me talking you through it is energy work. It is energy healing and energy work being guided through the tarot spread and through all the different energies. And as I walk you through that it's actually working on you vibrationally. You know what I'm saying? Like when you click into it, you're not quite the same as when you leave it. You feel, hopefully uplifted and empowered and lighter. That's always my intention. It's always the experience I want anyone to have of me ever, is just positivity. So we're doing that on Patreon, and that's included, I think, in the first tier, maybe the second tier, but I think I put it all in the first tier, maybe the second tier. Anyway, it's on Patreon, theartegan.com or patreon.com/theartegan. So, my loves, I love you forever and ever and always. And I will see you guys. I'm still getting back on track. I lost a week. I guess I'm mostly bummed about that. Is like, oh my God. And honestly, guys, I was planning. I can't give it away what I was planning and what was unfolding and developing. It's really, really good. And it's still happening. It's still happening for you guys. So it's just going to take longer. So it's meant to take a little bit longer for it to get even more perfect. So stay tuned. Take care. Be well. Take really good care of yourselves, my loves. And until then, many, many blessings upon your heads, loves. Mwah. Bye.